So guys, welcome back to Lexalexus. Today it is my championship score predictions for match day 11. This is going to be the final championship game before we have our second lot of international break, which is such a shame really. I was really starting to enjoy watching this period of the championship, but make sure you get all your predictions in since we do have an early Friday game tonight. If you guys are wondering, this is what the Lexalexus Football Prediction League is looking like. Johnny Barrett is just increasing this lead. Him and James Massey had a brilliant week with 10 points. And they are now in the top two, are fallen down to 4th place. And FIFA, who, if you knew about my live stream, copied 6 of my predictions, got 7 points, and I only got 2. Which is so heartbreaking for the fact that the other games that FIFA didn't copy, FIFA got right basically, so that was really annoying. And this is what the Lexalexus Football Prediction League 1 is looking like, and I've got to give a warm welcome to Strong T and Bailey Francis for being the 2 newest members in that league. But as always guys, if you've not left a prediction yet, you're very likely going to be entered in this league. And to enter this league is very simple. You only just have to comment your score predictions for this game, which I'll leave in the description down below, so you can pause the video and leave your predictions. But if you guys like what you see, please give the video a like. It does tremendously help the channel. Please do hit that subscribe button. It does really help. We're trying to push to 800 subscribers. It's stalling a bit, but I believe in you guys. We can definitely get there. Maybe by the international break ending. Who knows? If we can really go for that, I'd be terribly appreciative. And please share this channel to as many people as you can. All of that really helps. But without any further ado, let's start predicting these weekend's games. So the first game to predict is Stoke versus West Brom. This is Friday's game tonight, so you guys are going to have to get your predictions very quickly for this particular game. And it's going to be a game which I'll be intrigued to see the outcome of. Of course, it's 2 teams within the top 6 at the moment. 2 teams that have been relatively consistent with their season so far. West Brom still one of the only 2 teams still unbeaten in the whole entire league, which they can boast about. West Brom drew 3 games in a row, and we're thinking now they were losing track a little bit, but they hit back with 2 back-to-back wins against QPR and a 4-0 win against Cardiff, which moves them to the top of the championship. Alex Mowatt's goal against Cardiff, though, is a French kiss. Honestly, such incredible technique for him to pull that off. He's going to be such a special player, Alex Mowat, and I'm really excited to see how he thrives with West Brom. As for Stoke, it's their best start to a championship season since getting relegated from the Premier League. They're currently 5th place so far, and they've only lost twice in this season, although they had lost twice in their last 6 matches. There were 2 away games against Fulham and against Stoke. At home, Stoke have currently not lost a home game and actually have got a very near perfect home record as well, only dropping 2 points so far at home, which was a 1-1 draw against Barnsley, which they were a little bit unlucky not to win. So if I have to predict this game, it's close because Stoke of course have a strong home record. West Brom have been strong away from home, still unbeaten in the league. So naturally, I'm going to go and sit on the fence and say a 1-1 draw. And FIFA 21 is going for a West Brom 1-0 win. Next up, we've got a only game on Saturday. Coventry going up against Fulham. Another 2 teams that are fighting in the top 6. Both separated by only 1 point as well. So whoever wins will definitely be able to try and get a bit of an advantage over their opponent. Now, both had very contrasting results in midweek. Fulham had the Mitrovic show in midweek, with Mitrovic scoring a hat-trick. He's definitely proven with his qualities and the position he goes under that he's just way too good for his league, and he'll definitely be in contention with the top goal scorer. He might not necessarily be the best player around or the best individual player, but the way that Fulham play, they'll always give him opportunities on the play, and if he can take them, then Mitrovic will easily be top goal scorer, and I'll be expecting him to be right up there. In terms of Coventry, they've had a fantastic start so far this season, although we have a couple of question marks to ask about Coventry. Is this going to be the start of their decline? They lose 5-0 to Luton in midweek. A bit of a freak result there. Harry Cornick and Elijah Adebayo scoring a brace each. And they just completely tore Coventry apart. Kept dispossessing them, kept hitting them with pace and on the break. And Coventry were very heavily exposed to it. Although Coventry do have one for worst away records in the league, but it's their home record, which is why Coventry are up there. They've got a 100% home record, and no other team has that so far. But if you look at the teams they played up against, you'd expect Coventry to really compete with those teams. There's not been too many groundbreaking home results. So I'm very tempted to give Fulham a win. But the fact I'm doing so badly in the Prediction League is because I'm going for the predictable. And I think for once I'm going to go with the unpredictable and see if it pays off. You know what? If it doesn't pay off, at least I've given it a go. I'm going to say Coventry win this based on their strong home record. I'm going to say a 2-1 home victory to Coventry. And FIFA 21 is actually saying a 0-0 draw. Next up, we've got Barnsley going up against Millwall. I've been really concerned with Barnsley recently. They've not won in their last 8 matches. They are currently 21st and they're only outside of the bottom 3 with goal difference as well. So a really poor result this weekend can see Barnsley in the bottom 3. They face a Millwall side which I've not been too overly impressed in completely. Although I have felt they were quite unlucky in terms of not getting more points on the board. Millwall made a difference against Bristol City since they won a penalty, Bensound getting fouled in the box. It definitely was going to be a penalty. And Jed Wallace, really clinical from the spot, makes it 1-0 to Millwall. And following this win, it now puts them on 12 points and it doesn't make them look so bad in terms of their position in the table. And actually, they're stretching on a bit of an unbeaten run at the moment. 6 games unbeaten now, although 4 of those 6 games were draws. And that's what they need to try and get rid of. They need to try and stop these draws from going on. Unfortunately, I think with those two teams, I think it will be a draw, you know. I'm going to say a 0-0 draw. Both of these sides have been involved with 0-0 draws already this season. Barnsley, in terms of their goal scoring, they've had to rely on a penalty or a set piece. That's where their last 2 goals have been. A penalty from Woodrow and a free kick from Collie Woodrow. If Collie Woodrow does not get a set piece or a penalty, then I don't see how Barnsley are going to score at the moment. They've really been really poor. So I'm going to say a 0-0 draw, and I'm going to say both teams will draw a blank, and FIFA 21 is actually going to agree with me. Next up, we've got Birmingham going up against Nottingham Forest. This is the Chris Hughton derby, actually. Now, since Chris Hughton left Nottingham Forest, they have actually picked up 7 out of their 8 points that they currently have in the table, including 2 wins in their last 3. So it's looking like a little bit of a small turnaround for Nottingham Forest at the moment. And for the first time this season, they are outside the bottom 3 as well. And Nottingham Forest will hope to stay that way and will hope to climb up even further in the table. Now, Birmingham is a frustrating team because they started so well in this season. And I was thinking that Birmingham were going to be a team soaring up the table, reaching new heights. But since that good start, they picked up 3 defeats in their last 4 matches, conceding 9 goals in those 3 matches as well, which doesn't really impress me in terms of the philosophy that Birmingham is supposed to have with their tight defensive system. They're going to be facing a Nottingham Forest side, hungry and wanting to rise up the table. Nottingham Forest can be within 1 point of Birmingham if they pick up a win in this game. And you know what? I think they will. I think there's hope restored in Forest. I'm going to say a 2-1 away victory with Nottingham Forest. And FIFA 21 is actually going to go for a 0-0 draw again. Next up, we've got Blackpool going up against Blackburn. We have got a Lancashire derby. This is a very fierce derby between these two sides. Now, Blackburn have an incredibly strong record against this Blackpool side. And stat of the day for you, the last time Blackpool beat Blackburn was all the way back in 1966, before the moon landing and before England won the World Cup. I mean, that is incredible. In terms of these two teams, Blackpool have actually had the stronger record compared to Blackburn at the moment. They've actually won more wins in their last 4 games than what Blackburn have done. Although Blackburn, actually, they have been performing very, very well. And actually, they are still in the top 6. Although they did fall to their 2nd defeat of the season, losing 3-2 to Huddersfield. It was quite an entertaining game. Ben Brereton Diaz getting on the score sheet twice. I mean, the lead up to the first goal was brilliant play by Joe Rothwell. And finding Ben Brereton Diaz, he just had to finish it off and it was given into a play. And this is the sort of goals that you'll see Ben Brereton score. 9 goals in 10 as well. He could definitely really get some good numbers if he continues this goal scoring up. With Blackpool, their main man's been Shane Lavery. They will be a bit disappointed they didn't beat Hull. They had an extra man on the field since Hull went down to 10 men. But even with that, they conceded an 85th minute goal. And that would have been 2 very crucial points for Blackpool, because they would have been in and around the top half of the table if they hanged on to that win. So it's such a shame, but Shane Lavery's been the player that's really been elevating Blackpool. He's been the one player that's really impressed me. Now, I'm thinking this may be a draw. Reason being is that I think Blackpool got a strong home record. Blackburn would definitely go gun-ho. And I could see Blackburn winning this. But I'm going to say 1-1 and cancel each other out. And Fifa's going 1-0 Blackpool. Next up, we've got Bournemouth going up against Sheffield United. Now, Bournemouth still remain unbeaten in the league, although they have got a very frustrating draw with Peterborough. And they've had a couple of those frustrating 0-0 draws away from home against teams that are really going to pack their butts. They've had it with Hull already this season. And of course, they've had it just now with Peterborough. So Bournemouth definitely, if there is a vulnerability, I feel, in terms of taking their chances or trying to play against teams with a low block. They play a Sheffield United team, which I think will be a lot more expressive than these two teams. They had gone on a brilliant run of form, Sheffield United, although that was halted big time when they lost 2-0 to Middlesbrough. You could argue that was a freak result. Morgan Gibbs-White was very unlucky not to score. He hit the post at one stage. But Middlesbrough were insanely clinical in that night. Now, I expect both of these powerhouse teams to really go at each other and try and figure each other out. I think whoever scores first will have a really good advantage in this game, because I think they both manage the games very, very well. I'm going to say, for the fact that Bournemouth are at home, I'm going to say Bournemouth might edge this. I'm going to say 2-1 to Bournemouth. FIFA 21 is going 1-1. Next up, we've got Cardiff going up against Reading. Now, these are two teams that I do worry about for varying different reasons. Cardiff have definitely got the worst form at the moment in the league. They started so well, but their only 5 defeats of this season have actually come in their last 6 matches. And 1 week ago, Cardiff were in the top 10 in terms of the best defences in the league. But after their 5-1 defeat to Blackburn and their 4-0 defeat to West Brom, only Peterborough have now conceded more goals than Cardiff, which is absolutely crazy. Reading have picked up some crucial wins. They did go on a 3-game winning streak. However, they were cut short against Derby, where I felt Derby just really upped up their intensity, and I think they really broke Reading's stride. Reading did look promising in areas, but they just did not take their chances, more importantly. Now, Reading will want to take their chances in this game. I think Cardiff are going to be a team very low on confidence based on their last 2 results. And Reading, we have seen them pull off an upset away from home before, although their other 3 away games Reading have lost. So that's why their 2-1 away victory against Fulham was such a shock, bearing in mind for how poor their away record was. I'm going to say, based on confidence and the desire, I'm going to say Reading might edge this. It might be stupid of me to say that, but I've got to go with some really outlandish results here. That's probably why I'm not doing too well in the prediction league at the moment. So I'm going to go for a 2-1 away victory to Reading. And FIFA 21 is going to go for a 1-1 draw. Next up, we've got Derby going up against Swansea. Now, Derby are unbeaten at home, and they have won back-to-back home games as well. Derby are definitely using their home form as their strategy to try and accumulate and try and get themselves out of their 12-point deduction. Now, following their win against Reading, they're now officially back into the positive point system. However, that could change whenever they get their 9-point deduction from the EFL or not. So Derby will be hoping that they can just pick up as many wins as they can now, just before that they may get another 9 points added on as a deduction. Now, Swansea, for me, look like a team that they just don't really have any form of consistency. They looked really good against Huddersfield and actually could have scored a lot more against Huddersfield. But unfortunately against Fulham, I know Fulham are brilliant, but they didn't do anywhere near enough. Apart from that one through ball, which was a great through ball to find Callum Patterson's score against Fulham, they did next to nothing in that game. So I'm really not too sure in terms of Swansea, especially away from home. I think Derby will definitely get the win. I'm going to say 1-0. For one thing that might hold me back is Derby drawing a blank, because they've only scored 7 goals so far, Derby. So they've not scored many goals. But Swansea would look like that they'll just run with the ball, keep the ball, pass the ball, but just not create much. So I'll say 1-0. FIFA 21 was going 3-1 to Derby. Next up, we've got Hull going up against Middlesbrough. Now, both sides picked up a seemingly good result in midweek. Now, Hull have still not won a game since the opening day of the season, which means it's a 9-game winless run for Hull, which is why they find themselves in the bottom 3 at the moment. But you'd argue they picked up a really good point against Blackpool. They were down to 10 men following that Leary Cole did get sent off. But Tommy's found a very crucial bit of space and managed to score as well. And you can argue that if Chris Rathbone hadn't made a brilliant save, Hull could have even won all 3 points in that game. So they may have been a little bit unlucky there. Against Middlesbrough, they picked up an incredible result against Sheffield United. 2 stunning goals from Duncan Watmore and Paddy McNair was the one that made the difference, really, to be honest. And I think it was their organisation. I think it really got to Sheffield United for how organised they were and how much desire they had. When you've got desire and you've got determination, you can win any game against any opponent. And I think Middlesbrough will go for that again in this game. I think Middlesbrough will start pretty strong going into this international break. For score prediction, I just don't back Hull. They've only scored 2 home goals so far this season. So I'm going to go for a 1-0 away victory to Middlesbrough. FIFA 21's going to go 2-0. Next up, we've got Luton going up against Huddersfield. Now, if there's one thing we should see in this match is goals. Touch wood, we'll see plenty of goals in this game because Luton have scored 8 goals in their last 2 home games. Huddersfield have done well. They've bounced back and have won a 5-goal thriller. Now, between them, they've scored 34 goals this season. But also between them, they've conceded 30 goals. If we do not see goals in this game, I do not know when we'll ever see as many goals again. I'm going to go for Luton to win because I have been impressed with their home form. I'm going to go 3-1 Luton. FIFA is going 1-0 Luton. Next up, we've got Peterborough going up against Bristol City. Now, Peterborough have only won 3 out of their last 12 meetings against Bristol City, and Bristol City have won 8 of their last 12 meetings with Peterborough. So Bristol City definitely have the stronger record going into this game. But one thing to consider, Peterborough at home are not a tricky team to play up against. Peterborough have got one of the best home records in the league. Their only defeat at home came from a last minute tap in from Matt Phillips against West Brom. Also, they've kept 2 clean sheets in their last 2 home games. So it's tough to break Peterborough down at home. And they have been scoring plenty of goals at home as well. Siriki Dembele being very impressive. What do I predict here? I am going to go for a bit of a shock. I'm going to go for Peterborough win. I hardly back Peterborough, but I'll back them for this game. I'll say 2-1 to Peterborough. And FIFA is going 1-0 Peterborough. But one thing I'll say, every time I don't back Bristol City to win, they always win. So don't worry, Bristol City fans, I might be doing your team a favour. Last game to predict is QPR versus Preston. Now, the history between these two sides is that Preston tend to have a stronger record, but actually since I've been doing YouTube, it's been QPR that have been having a stronger record against Preston very recently. QPR picked up a very comfortable 2-0 win against Birmingham, although Birmingham did actually ask quite a lot of questions, but QPR defensively have really impressed me in that game in particular. Preston, for me, didn't really test Stoke all that much, and they've got Daniel Iverson to thank as well. Stoke City fans will be having nightmares of Daniel Iverson because he made 3 point-blank saves to keep Stoke out and to really prevent Stoke from winning this game. And following a Ben Whiteman free kick, a moment of magic on his part, they managed to get a draw against Stoke. And following this, they're stretching to a bit of an unbeaten run at the moment, and Preston, despite not necessarily playing well, they always find a way. Now, in this game, I could see QPR winning this. I really can. But for some odd reason, in the back of my mind, I'm thinking Preston might fool something again. I'm going to go for a 1-1 draw. I'm going to say Preston continue their unbeaten streak, and FIFA's going 2-0 QPR, which would have been my alternative result. But that wraps up my predictions for match day 11. A couple of shocks there, but this is what I'm hoping for. Maybe this might be what sort of predictions I need to try and get myself back onto the leaderboard. Now, if you guys are wondering about Premier League predictions, this is what my Premier League predictions for this weekend are as well. If you guys want a prediction league for the Premier League games, 1,000 subscribers, I'll create a separate prediction league for Premier League predictions only. But to do that, everyone, you'll need to hit the subscribe button. If you're new around here, please do hit that subscribe button. It does really help. But to improve it as well, please share this channel. Share it to all your friends. Share it to as many people as you can. And tell them to like, share, and subscribe. And comment as well. All of that really helps this channel. But that'll wrap it up. Thank you guys so much for watching. You guys are legendary for staying to the end of this video. And as always, I'll see you guys very soon. Take care.